All right, back in the basement again today, and I'm gonna give you my first impressions on these Irwin Fitness Supply Roller J Cups. And if you're not familiar with Irwin, you should be, but that tells me that you don't follow me on Instagram because I share a lot of stuff that smaller companies are doing that I think are cool to kind of spread the wealth and the information about, hey, there's other companies out there besides Rogue and Rep and Sorinex and whatever. Irwin is one of those that I've highlighted. I've talked about them on the Garage Gym Experiment podcast as my company to look out for in 2022. And it was finally time for me to put my money where my mouth was and buy something from them and actually give you some feedback on it. So I posted these on Instagram yesterday, and by far the most common request I got was, hey, how do those compare to the Go Strong 2.0 cups? Which for many people, I gotta say, are like something that they aspire to. There's like this mythical thing about these Ghost cups, which are great, by the way. I have reviews of these things on my channel, but a lot of people aspire to get them. And aspire, I think, is a good word because they're extremely expensive, as is most things Ghost, although very well worth it to me, in my opinion. But a lot of people eventually want to upgrade or get the Ghost cup, so they want to know how these ones from Irwin, which they might not have heard of, compare. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. So let's talk about the Irwins first. These things fit a 3x3 rack, as the Ghost do, as that is the rack that I have. 1-inch pinhole size, Rogue Monster rack, so 3x3, 1-inch hardware. They also offer 5/8 inch pins. So if you have a Rogue Monster light, these will fit on that. A Rep PR 4000, you can get ones that fit on that. They also offer ones for racks that are 2x3, and again with the same pin sizes, so 1 inch or 5/8 of an inch. So for me, these things fit on mine, and they fit phenomenally well. That's the first thing I want to talk about, is the fit of these things. And why the fit is important is you want roller J cups to have a tight fit. Some of these versions out there will have actually something that attaches in the back to make sure that they don't sway, because what you can find is under heavy load and a barbell moving side to side on rollers, if it's not extremely tight or secured to the rack, the cups can sway with the bar if the load is heavy enough. So for these Irwins, they have UHMW on the inside, as does the Ghost ones here, but these ones fit to a T perfect. And to demonstrate, I'm going to just try to take them off. And when I do that, you will notice the whole attachment that they're sitting on, which by the way is made by 12x11 Fitness offset attachments, which I'll be doing a video on as well. The whole cup and the whole attachment kind of come off, which is good. But it's not tight to the point where you cannot get these things off, because if I just brace against it, get my hand and pull, the cups come off in that regard. Why this is important though, however, is because when you have a loaded barbell on here and you're moving this side to side, the cups are not going to sway with it because it has a nice tight hug on it. Now let's compare that to the Ghost. One finger right here and just a little push. That's different. So the Go Strong 2.0s do not offer any resistance whatsoever. I will say, however, the fit on these is still good, especially if you compare it to the original Ghost 1.0s, which I have videos on doing both. This one fits much better since they added the UHMW to the back. There is, if you listen, just a little bit of play in the cup. But again, from a manufacturing standpoint, this is a very slippery slope to walk, and I can't guarantee that your experience will be the same as mine where it's this tight of a fit. I say that because everyone's rack can be slightly different. The UHMW thickness can be slightly different. And from a manufacturer standpoint, when you're creating an attachment that's supposed to fit on a lot of different companies' racks, whether it be Rogue, Sorinex, 12x11 in this case, whatever the case may be, you want to make sure that it's a tight fit, but not so tight to the point where a customer can't get it on their rack and potentially has to return that item. A little bit of play is usually more desirable because while it might not be the perfect fit, it's still going to fit. So just something to take note of. You might not have the same experience as mine, but I can say that regardless if it's on the 12x11 3x3, the Rogue 3x3, or my Sorinex 3x3, which I'm sure I'll show you some B-roll of it on, the fit on these is very, very good, better than my Ghost J cups. Now I talked a little bit about the UHMW on these, all three sides on here, all three sides on the inside here. Obviously it has some on the back plate, as does the Ghost, but one of the things you'll probably notice, and it's easier to tell on the Irwins based off of this design with the white and black, is it does have it on the front as well, so it covers the top lip and the front face. The Go Strong does not have that. That's just metal right here. And although I have seen some companies that make some 3D printed attachments that fit on the Ghost version, just know as is, the Ghost does not have that. So that's another win for Irwin in that regard to me. Now, in terms of the welds and how these look and the actual finish on them, they're both extremely well. You know, Ghost is expensive, but the finish on these is extremely nice. The Irwins, same thing. These things look and feel amazing, well worth the money, which I'll get into in just a second. These things are also much more beefy. I think part of that is the front bracket in the front and also just the way that these work. But the Ghosts are no slouch. They weigh over 9 pounds each per J cup. So that's almost 20 pounds for a pair of J cups. The Irwins, however, are over 11 pounds each. That's extremely heavy. That's almost amazingly heavy. The package that these shipped in said it weighed 27 pounds from UPS for just a pair of J cups. These things are beefy and not going anywhere. And I really like that. I don't like to skimp on stuff, especially when you're spending a lot of money on it. So I think the Irwins win in that regard too, just in the stoutness of them. Now, one of the things I want to talk about next is the actual rollers themselves. So they're both composite. They both offer metal versions, I think, but I like the composites better just because they're not going to tear up your bar. But the Go Strong ones have this return roller feature, and this is a patent approved thing. So I think they actually have the patent on this now where you rack the bar and it's always going to return to the same spot. I'm actually not a fan of that. And I say that because when I lift, I like to have the bar in different spots depending on the lift that I'm doing. For squats, I like to push in to the J cup, so I like to have it up here on the back. Doing so on the Ghost is a little bit off-putting because you have to get over this lip and push it up, and then when I rack, the bar rolls back down. I don't like that as much. On bench, it's not a problem because I actually like to have the bar in the front of the cup, and that's why I think a flat roller just makes more sense for me because it doesn't matter if I'm doing squats or bench. I can move the bar in position without any issue. For the actual Go Strong ones, it's always kind of in the front, which I don't like for squats. And sure, I could take this out and flip it around. I'm probably not going to want to do that depending on which lift I'm doing. I'm just lazy when it comes to that. So I prefer a flat roller. Now, the grain of salt is that this is not the standard roller that ships with the Irwin. They actually have one that comes in the middle, so you still have to push it up or back depending. For me, they added this in at no extra cost. I have an ask out to the owner to say if someone wanted to switch out for the flat roller, is that an extra cost or not? And depending on when I get that answer, I'll either put an annotation on the screen right here, or I'll make a comment on the video and pin it when I hear back from them. I do believe Go Strong offers or is planning to offer some flat rollers, but honestly, I think flat rollers make the most sense. And in fact, if you take a look back at my old prototypes that I made years and years ago, always use flat rollers. If you look at these other custom cups that I've been using as my daily drivers from Connor Hobson, which does not sell these anymore, flat rollers. I think flat rollers make the most sense, at least based off of my lifting preferences. So I think that the Irwins win in that regard too. So overall, in terms of fit and finish, they're both extremely nice. For the point of this video, trying to say which one is better, which do you prefer, how do they compare, I gotta say I like the Irwins better. You know, just the way that they're built, the way that they fit, the heft of them, I think the Irwins are better. Now, if it's really important to you to get made in USA, then the Ghost is your option. If you want to extend that to made in North America, Irwins, because made in Canada. So it's not imported from overseas to Canada and then selling somewhere else like Bells of Steel might do. Everything is made in Canada by hand. Garth Irwin is the owner. That's the company. Awesome, right? Cool. So fit and finish wise, Irwins win. Where I think is going to be the biggest deciding factor for people is once you start hearing about the price of these things. So Go Strong for this basic model, black, 1-inch pin, list price, $340 US. Expensive. The Irwins, this is a custom color, so this adds to the cost. So let's say this was black as well, so we can compare apples to apples. Black, 3x3, 1-inch pin, for the base model in US dollars, $215. I hesitate there a little bit because the prices are in Canadian. I'm trying to remember what they were. I'll put them on the screen, but $215. That's a lot less than these Ghost ones for something that I think is actually a better product overall. Huge, huge. Where it also gets interesting is when you start talking about customization. Go Strong is known for their customizations. I have a weight tree from them. It's awesome. I love it. It was expensive, worth every single penny. You can get this in any color that you want. It's $125 more. So that $340 just jumped up to $465. The Irwins, you can also get in custom colors. Not sure about any color you want, but they've been doing some pretty awesome colors that I've seen. They have like this Iron Man red that I shared the other day. Phenomenal looking. Obviously, I'm partial to the black and white color scheme. Adding a custom color here is under $50. It's probably like 40 bucks or so. So you're talking with custom colors about let's just say $260 to be safe. $260 versus $465. $260, $465. I think most people are going to go this route, not only for the price, number one, which is usually a deciding factor in anyone's purchasing decision, but also, again, I think these are a better cup overall in the way they're designed and how they actually operate. So huge on that. So it's a really tough sell for me to tell someone to go with the Ghost Strong cups, even though they are phenomenal, when I think the Irwin's does everything the Ghosts do, but a little bit better and also a hell of a lot cheaper. Now, if some of you guys are smart, which I'm sure you are, because if you're subscribed to my channel, you're really smart. You're really smart. Coming from Canada, the shipping probably isn't going to be as friendly. Surprisingly enough, to ship these down here to the US only added about 40 bucks. So end of the day, to me, for this custom color cup with the flat rollers, which I'm not sure is going to be an added cost or not, so let's assume I got the normal rollers, but a custom color, normal roller cup, 3x3, 1-inch hardware, still under $300 delivered to my door. Where these ones more than likely are going to be more in the $500 range. So about $200 less for, again, something that I just think is better so far overall. Time will tell, obviously, and you can't go wrong in either way. But for the sake of the video comparing the two, if someone asked me which one to get, I would say the Irwins. Now, another thing to consider, which honestly with Ghost isn't something that's going to be that much different, is the lead times on either of these are going to be huge, especially if you're getting a custom color. These ones are going to be no different. It's going to take you a little while. I have a feeling now that I've made this video telling you how awesome they are and how inexpensive they are, the lead times might be extended some a little bit as well. But just expect these to take some time. You're talking probably, I would say like 2 months to be safe, but I'm sure Irwin will give you some kind of update, or if they tell me, then I'll give you an update. It's going to take some time. I waited that length of time, and to be honest, 100% worth it. Would do it again, would recommend again. These things are just awesome. Can't be understated enough. So I think that's it for my first impressions. Pretty good. I'm pretty high on these. I'm hoping they live up to my expectations based off of having them for one day and just being able to compare them to some of the best in the biz already. If you have any question that I wasn't able to answer, leave that in the comment section below, and I'll be able to answer that as soon as I can. In the meantime, as always, thanks so much for watching, and stay big.